1.2 million.
That's what I want. The Nick you're dating is Nick Young?
Yeah, you guys know them or something?
Hells yeah. They're just the biggest developers in all of Singapore.
That's what I... Damn, Rachel. It's like the Asian Bachelor. These people aren't just rich. They're crazy rich.
Oh, you really should have told me that you're like Prince William of Asia.
That's ridiculous. Much more of a Harry. Mom, this is Rachel Chu.
She just thinks you're some, like, unrefined banana.
No. Those are a few fingers.
Yellow on the outside, white on the inside.
That was a clip from the delightful and splashy Crazy Rich Asians, which opened on Wednesday, and we're talking about it today. I'm Christy, that is Ben, that is Matt. We all saw Crazy Rich Asians, and Ben's gonna tell you about it.
Yeah, so this is the story of a young woman in New York City. She's very successful, a Chinese American, born in China, I guess we learn in the movie, but raised here in America from the age of a little baby. And she is very successful. She's a game theory professor, an economics professor at NYU, and she has a dashing boyfriend who is from Singapore, and he just seems like a regular guy. He's got a Jamba Juice card. And then he invites her, after about a year of their relationship, to go back to Singapore because he's the best man at a friend's wedding, and it's a chance for her to meet his family, but he hasn't told her much about his family.
Right. They are very wealthy.
It turns out they are.
Oh, it turns out he's Prince Harry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Turns out he's incredibly rich, and there's sort of a, there's a fun reveal slowly of how rich, and I mean this movie just sort of cuts from one extravagant party to another. I mean, I'm not sure, I don't know what the percentage is of this movie that isn't a party, but it's, like 17%, something like that.
I was gonna guess higher. I was thinking it's close to half.
Yeah, right. No, I'm saying like 80% of the movie is a party.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
This movie is just totally delightful, and it feels this wonderful mix of just old-fashioned, just screwball comedy, romantic comedy. It's almost a musical at some points. And John M. Chu, who directed a couple of
the fly off your head.
The Fly is in the studio, you guys. It's like you're here with us. We're real people in a real studio with outside.
What was the commercials in the 70s or 80s for Gee, your hair smells terrific?
Oh.
Whatever it is.
Mine must also, because I'm delightful. So John M. Chu directed a couple of the Step Up movies, and he did a couple of Justin Bieber documentary type things. And he's got a real feel for movement and for energy and for pacing and color and just meticulous detail. And all of that just shines through. And I love that this is a balance of a very old-fashioned kind of movie. This could have come out in like the 30s or the 40s. It feels like you're gonna show it on TCM someday. But it's also very modern in terms of the themes it tackles as far as cultural identity and who you truly are, and trying to, forge your own path in a world in which traditions and family are trying to hold you to a certain other different kind of standard. I can imagine this being the kind of hit that My Big Fat Greek Wedding was, in terms of it's got a cultural specificity to it, but there's also a universality in, the affectionate kind of ribbing of family and these colorful characters and just, traditions, and I had a blast.
Yeah, I liked it too. I'm curious whether it'll be as big a hit as My Big Fat Greek Wedding was. I mean, partly that was because this movie must have cost 50 times more than My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
The costume budget alone, yes.
And location budget and all that stuff. This was expensive. One would think a pretty expensive movie, although it's not like they got, they didn't have to pay Tom Cruise, but straight white guys like me who like to think of themselves as thoughtful still are likely to, we still fall into a trap, not infrequently, of being like, well, blacks feel this way, and Asians feel this. Chinese don't like, Japanese don't like Korean, and like without really any understanding of what must be, as with any ethnicity, thousands of subsets inside that ethnicity. And one of the great things that Crazy Rich Asians does is bring you what you hinted at there, of sort of the idea that Chinese people who continued to live in China or Singapore, and probably a difference between Chinese people living in China and Chinese people who moved to Singapore, have a very different view of Chinese people, even 100% ethnically Chinese, who grew up in America. They keep saying to this girl, the mother keeps saying to her, yeah, you're American. Right,
like she shows up at that one party and they're like, oh, she's the ABC bitch, right? The American-born Chinese.
Right.
So they're all kind of poo-pooing her. In fact, they're surprised when it turns out she speaks Mandarin, right? And there's, one of the tensions that come up between Rachel and her potential mother-in-law, played, or at least Nick's mother, played by Michelle Yeoh, who is terrific in this.
She's withering.
She's withering. Is that she threads the needle of being very dismissive and very judgmental with it, but you can see where she knows she's doing it, and yet, you know, the mother knows she's doing it, but she's subtle enough that you're like, okay, I see where she's going for, and she's conservative and she's got her values. There's a lot of really good stuff going on. I was blown away. The guy that plays the lead,
Henry
Nick,
Golding,
hasn't acted before.
Right,
like
he's a talk show host.
And he's terrific in this. And the chemistry between him and the woman playing Rachel is great. I thought it was really good.
No, they are both just superstars. I mean, you and I were walking out last night, and I was like, he is just an old-fashioned movie star. He's gorgeous. He's got this amazing voice, and they have lovely chemistry with each other. She's adorable.
Yeah, no, they're both great. You know, people always say that the most talented people in the entertainment business are talk show hosts. I've always believed that. And so
where's your screwball comedy band?
You're the exception proves the rule. He made me you're gonna think I'm insane for this. Made me think of Clark Gable a little bit.
No, I don't think that's insane.
Yeah, like tall, you know, like dashing, and yet not. You know, there's some of those guys that, especially like playing Rich, can come off as almost effeminate, right? And he's
he was super.
I just liked him a lot. I thought he was really great.
And what Gable got really maybe as well as anybody. You know, there are a couple people today who do it well, but there's he's mischievous. But you know, and you sense that there's a little bit of danger. And this guy is, you know, he's too good a guy to have a traditional old-fashioned Gable role. But there is a little bit of the slyness in him that you get, and he's really good looking. And like Gable in for the love of God, Alonzo. It would happen one night. The movie that won Gable his Oscar, you know, he took his shirt off, and there's a tremendous amount. So apparently, here's what we learned: handsome Asian men do not sleep with a T-shirt. That's what if this movie taught us anything.
Yeah, no, this is a big deal in a lot of ways.
With ads like that, why would you?
No, totally.
No, this is a big deal in a lot of ways in the way that it's an all Asian cast, and it's the first time that has happened since Joy Luck Club 25 years ago. So this is
in a mainstream,
in a big studio movie
with an East Asian one, right? Because we had The Namesake, right, which is Indian, right? We've had Better Luck Tomorrow, like
East Asian.
Okay,
right.
But still, it's a big deal in a lot of ways, and the way that there's a lot of, you know, female gaze of these gorgeous men that we don't ordinarily see in the way that Asian men have often depicted in film.
Yeah, the men are trotted out there. I mean, they're sleeping without their shirts on, and there's a couple of moments there where I thought, you know, I just have this moment of, boy, they're really selling that, and then you realize, oh wait, they do this with women in literally every movie that has ever been made, and I don't even comment on it.
One of the things I liked in this movie, and I get the feeling that John Chu knew we were going to think this, is that there's moments, especially because they play a lot of this like really like big band swing music, but sung in Mandarin. And it's these big set pieces, these big parties, you know, the big party at the house with the balloons, and the way it's staged, I'm starting thinking like, man, this is almost like a Busby Berkeley. And sure enough, you get that reference later, right?
Oh yeah, but from the very start, I mean, like the titles open and it's this big splashy big band score that plays. Like Seth MacFarlane would love this movie. It's like all the stuff he loves about traditional music.
The music's terrific in this.
And I have a new rule I've realized that I don't like movies where the rich people, where they're incredibly wealthy people who live in a world where they're oblivious to their wealth. Like I don't mind, we can have movies about rich people and they don't even have to do anything good, but they have to be aware of what they have. And most people in this movie don't, but there does seem to be a not even always subtle, a significant undercurrent of the movie shaming those people. Those people are villains. And Henry Golding, who is the richest and he's Prince Harry, he is aware of his station in life and that.
Well, there's a line he says where, we're comfortable, and she says, "Yeah, that's what ultra rich people say."
That's right. That's right.
And that's the way he comes off. And honestly, like even Michelle Yeoh and the grandmother comes off that way too, right?
Totally.
It's all they've known.
What airline did they take? Because there's no better
Pacific Asian.
I mean, if that's a real airline, I assume it is because they. I mean, that's the greatest.
I want to
ad.
go to the.
I want to go to Singapore, and I'll whatever cost to get that cabin. I'm in.
I want to go to. I want to go eat where they ate when she
Oh
first
yeah,
gets to
the street
Singapore,
food in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
It's
food
a nice.
looks great.
It's a nice selling point to Singapore.
The clothes look great, yeah. The supporting cast is great. Awkwafina, who is so fun in Ocean's 8.
Almost steals the movie and
Almost
never gives it
steals
back.
the whole thing as Constance Wu's best friend.
Yeah.
I would like an entire series of Awkwafina and Nico Santos, who is the gay cousin, like just giving people makeovers, because they do a whole like makeover on Rachel that is not the cliche makeover montage that you expect.
Totally,
It's charming.
yeah, the movie-
Gemma Chan's really good, and in several scenes, she's like the one family member who's nice to Rachel.
Ken Jeong is fun. I mean, he's
better
hamming it
in
up
this
a little
than
bit.
usual.
There's
Who
less
is it?
of him.
Who's it that plays Bernard?
Which one was Bernard?
jerk.
Jimmy O Yang.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who played the bachelor party.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have enough time, but he's.
And the cousin, the other cousin who makes everybody, the family, pose a certain way. Like there's some little funny bits there. The movie is a little bit racist against people who don't know the rules to mahjong. Like where I was like,
is that why your number is what it is?
I was like, I
mahjong?
don't know what happens here. I don't know. Oh, she trumped him. I don't know what.
But it's tense.
Yeah, it is. It's a tense mahjong game. It's good.
Okay, so my number is an 8.8. I had a blast. It's a little bit too long, and I'd say the subplot with Gemma Chan is like maybe not developed quite enough.
Yeah,
right?
she's the other cousin.
She's the rich
sister.
fashionista cousin.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And it's meant to be like a significant emotional element to it.
I feel like there's an acknowledgement of that because there's an attempt to pay that off in the credits.
Okay.
But I don't know that it paid
Anyway,
off.
it's great. Please go see it. I loved it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.1. I liked it a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree that there's a few pieces that aren't quite developed. They try and do too much, but again, I like this a lot. I give it a 7.5.
Okay, our number is an 8.1. It's at 93% on the tomato meter. It was at 100 for a long time. It opened on Wednesday nationwide, so please go find it. It's a blast. Thanks. Bye.